MakingStarWars.net.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and this is Max.
Hey
How's it going,
everyone,
Max?
it's good.
So Max,
Uh-huh.
were you bored? Are you quitting Star Wars now?
Yeah, I'm done. This made me. This is the end, friend.
Yeah, this is the end, my friend. Um, I'm really happy with it. With the show. This I liked this one. I liked like the juxtaposition of like Cassian out in the wild, and then the constricting tension of like the urban environment of Coruscant, like the juxtaposition in people, earth tones versus whatever you call the opposite of earth tones. Like that was cool.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It felt good. I like the I'm a big fan of environments in Star Wars, setting the mood for what I want to watch.
yeah, me
Like
too.
like I'm in the mood for this color palette, and then the Star Wars movie picks itself.
I
And
was all about Coruscant.
Coruscant.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no. I was I kind of expected not like this isn't critical. I expected more Coruscant in this one, and we got a lot more rebel stuff in it. But I've always thought about that. Like, do you ever think about like those guys and gals in the Rebel Alliance on like Hoth and stuff, and be like, what was the first day there like? Like how did they get with these people? How, and then you'll see them and they're all like, I feel like I took on the whole empire by myself. And I'm like, how do these assholes meet? Like, how do they get so chummy? You know? And so it's kind of cool though, because we kind of saw that just now. We kind of saw like first day temping in the Rebel Alliance, kind of. I don't know if it's the Alliance yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was cool. It was cool. Go ahead.
They mentioned that the partisan front. That's what they called it. I don't know if I'm not sure. I don't follow the books with enough depth recently to know. Have they ever called it a partisan front before?
I don't read the books.
Yeah, I don't really like reading. No, but yeah. So like at the start, we had pretty good Luthen. Luthen's just good. Like everything about that character is fucking so on, and the Skarsgård's performance, like when he's talking to the rebel lady, and she's like, "Look at me!" I was like, "Oh shit, homie, calm down. Your wig's gonna fly off if you fucking don't chill." Like, yeah, it turns out he has a wig on top of a wig. He's like a Russian doll of wigs.
I forgot that they're part of the Senate, the Imperial Senate. So when he came out, in drag, I was like, wait a minute, are they the bad guys? And they're like, oh wait, yeah, they're Imperial.
Yeah. So we I'm guessing this arc is gonna probably. So I'm curious if this arc of these three is it gonna culminate with the run and the meteor shower, or are they gonna do a Game of Thrones thing where you get the big part and then the next episode just chills out and wraps up what just happened? You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. I was hoping to see, we were going to see it tonight. I was like, ooh, I want to see the fancy Star Wars meteor shower that you don't want to fly through. That's like a curtain. Like it sounds fun. It sounds neat.
It ended too soon.
Yeah.
I wanted it longer.
That's what she said. Yeah, I really wish they were putting them out in clusters of 3. Like I just wish we had like one movie a month, on these. Once again, there's nothing wrong with doing it weekly. That's how everybody does it. But sometimes I need it 3 times in a day. You know what I mean, Max?
Yeah.
You ever been there, Max?
Yeah. It hurts.
I wonder if we lost. If James fell asleep?
I think he fell asleep. I texted him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay if he became a sleepy James. Old sleepy James, probably cuddled up with Rob right now, like a little doggy bed, little puppy pile of James and Rob sleeping, dreaming of avatars. Um, all right. Well, anyways, yeah. So we kind of start with that sort of like negotiation from it, like lots of little good small character moments where Cassian does want to rob him, but that Fondor computer like has a little eye on the ship, and it's like, what are you looking at, fool? You know?
Busted. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny because it calls it a Fondor computer or Fondor something,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So he like wants to like rob him. Um, I don't have like a big problem with with where they're taking it, but it's kind of like, is Cassian really in? Do you think he's
Mm-hmm.
really in on the mission? Is he just a all right gang kind of guy? Because like he wants to rob Luthen.
Yeah.
Basically, he doesn't want to kill him. That might just because of his basic like moral compass at this point.
Uh-huh.
Because you have to remember, like he killed the guys who were robbing him, who attacked him.
Uh-huh.
That's when the killer kind of came out in that moment when he was supposed to kill the corporate security guy,
Mm-hmm.
the guy with the tight butt. He totally like he couldn't do it. He didn't want to do it. He just
Yeah.
didn't kill him. He let him live. Let him go home to his mommy. And then so he has the opportunity. He has the knife when he's shaving. He could have just shanked him and or tried to anyways.
I think that if he has any type of like he feels that he's not like 100% in it during this arc or whatever, he's gonna flip and say, "Yeah, I'm a part of this." I think, or unless they're gonna go with him like him being like kind of like a grayish, like in between, like for himself. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
and yeah, his mom. You mentioned his mom. She was the bounty quicker picker upper lady.
is that who she really is?
No,
Is that really her? No, it's not
it
really her,
looks
right?
like her.
She's in Harry Potter, isn't she?
Is she still alive? Oh, you mean this character?
This yeah, the lady from Andor.
I
I think she's in like Harry Potter. I feel I still want to when I watch the first three when
Mhm.
they're in the security office. There's like the three people at the computers that uptight guy Karn keeps going
Uh-huh.
to and giving orders to. Like the lady at the computer, I know her for something, but I try to look at the credits for a second, and I'm like, there's no obvious answer. There's like it doesn't say lady at the computer, so I'm just like, fucking. There's no picture. I'm like, I don't know, but I know her from somewhere too.
I
But
watched the last episode before,
mhm.
because I hadn't rewatched it since last week. So yesterday I saw 2 episodes, and then today I saw the third one,
Okay,
and it was a lot sadder this second time around.
yeah, it's kind of I find that kind of like interesting. Like a friend of mine had a friend see it early and was like, yeah, man, he's like crying. Like he said he actually cried in the third episode, and I was like, oh wow. Then he
Because
and my
Bix was
friend,
crying, I felt like crying too.
oh no, when that guy died, I was like, she belongs to us. No, I'm kidding. But when anyways, a friend was sad. A friend of a friend was sad. And we were like, yeah, I don't know. But then when I watched it again, I was like, you know what? I can kind of see how this is really kind of like a big bummer. When you
Hmm.
have like all of these disparate plot things coming together, like in a good way though. I mean, obviously
Yeah,
not like a bummer, like as in it sucks. But
I
yeah,
really
but
like how dark this is. I
mhm.
really, really do.
Yeah, it is like when we get. I mean, well, before we get there, when we get, I love that Gilroy or the team on Vandor said, let's put him out like in Scotland now after being in this dusty, dirty miner town or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Like it's a nice change of environment.
Hmm.
Like it really makes a huge difference. Like
Yeah.
um, you texted me. They mentioned Arvala
Mimban.
7 and Minban.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say, yeah, Mimban, and the stuff we heard about him being a cook on there,
Made it
and that
sound
kind
like
of,
he fought in the war or in the thing,
yeah,
like you were a cook.
yeah, and then yeah. So was he like a deserter though?
Seems
That
like
that's
it.
yeah. It seemed like he deserted. I was kind of like I was like kind of curious about that. I'm like, just seems like deserting would be as bad as what he's done.
Hmm.
Deserting the empire, you think would be as bad as killing two security officers in a way. Like you think it would bring the same amount of shit down on you, but there must be something to it or whatever.
Unless he was like trying to infiltrate, or that was a part of like him infiltrating
Yeah.
the empire somehow and going into their homes and shit. I don't know.
So Mon Mothma has Masamita and Sly Moore coming over for dinner.
Oh, that's who. Oh, that's right.
The
Okay.
Vizier, whatever the fuck they called him. Yeah,
They hate me.
which is his job. So they're gonna come over and man, that husband, he needs his ass kicked. That
He
guy
does.
sucks.
He's a
That guy sucks
spy.
so bad. And she asked for it. Like, you don't marry your fucking yoga instructor. You just fuck him. You don't marry him, Mon Mothma. You fucking idiot. Like, how did you get to be the leader of Chandrilla with those life skills? That's what I wanted to know.
So okay, Trangilla,
Trangilla,
Chandrilla.
Chandrilla.
That isn't that kind of mixed with Hera's or no? Because
No,
those artifacts I got confused.
no, that's like with the Kalikiri.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Sounds
yeah, Chandrilla is Mon Mothma's planet.
all
And
right.
after during the Force Awakens time,
Uh huh.
it's I think for a time they moved like the Senate there,
Oh.
instead of Coruscant. And for almost I guess like the idea was that JJ wanted to destroy it, and they
Uh
were
huh.
like, no, you can't destroy it. And so then they're like, okay, they moved it out of there as a sign of like unity, and we're not the old empire, so we're taking everything from that capital's gone. And
Mm.
then they moved it to, I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head at this hour again, but yeah, that's what they did with it.
I hope we
And
have more like chic, um, scenes with Mon Mothma
mhm.
because I love like her whole outfits and the decor of the room that she was in.
Yeah, that
So
apartment with their
beautiful. Yeah.
space bonsai trees and stuff, and even like a big tree going up like over the like living room. I don't know what that is, but whatever that space was called.
Mm.
And yeah, that place was like looking pretty cool. But once again, a fucking stupid boyfriend's in there playing Nintendo all the time. You know he's in there playing fucking Donkey Kong Country. Some
Yes.
stupid. He needs to get his
Totally.
ass kicked. He needs to get his ass kicked. But yeah, like, and then like the meeting between Mon Mothma and Luthen, um that was cool. It was like it was a cool setting to like set the scene in, and then you're like, oh, is this the first time they've met? And then they're like, no, and they just turn like,
Arguing with
what
each other.
I need that money. I got mouths to feed, you know, and stuff. Yeah, but that was and Luthen's wig. Then when he puts that fucking wig on,
I swear,
I was
I was like, is he a drag queen? Is he
yeah.
going in a drag? And then
He's
he
like,
puts on his rings and
I'd fuck me. hmm Does that whole scene? No, but I mean, no, I mean he does though. I mean he puts on the wig, and I like how he even like practices his little like this is my douche pose. Oh, look at me, I'm a douche. Like he kind of does that thing. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. It was really, 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 really well done.
mm,
I
and
mean,
then what's the imperial lady's name? The blonde.
at 1 a.m, she's just a blonde lady.
I like her. Uh, her little gay assistant. He seemed gay anyway.
hmm
Ivy is right on. It
Yeah.
was just funny because he's like they misspelled. They
Oh,
misspelled.
yeah. Yeah,
The famous thing.
yeah. That the all of the Imperial scenes where that could have been really boring, but at least on the first watch,
Hmm.
it had a good pace to it,
I
and it
like
kind of
her
got
for
like
some reason. Is she
yeah
gonna?
yeah
She seems like she's gonna switch, or like I don't know. Maybe
hmm
not, but I like
mm,
her.
yeah yeah that's the I
She has an
mean
intense look of like she gives off some sort of look like she's really trying her best, but I think they're gonna shit on her or something. I don't know.
like just straight up
Not literally.
Luthen's like, if you want to join us, you have to prove your loyalty. I'm going to squat over you and you're not going to move. If you really are an Imperial, you'll move because if you get anything on that uniform, you get fined. And she's like, fuck. But no, it's gonna it's like this could be a show where we see how certain bad guys, so to speak, or villains become good
Hmm.
or become allies to the Rebel Alliance in the end. Like it's completely possible. I mean, they might just get worse too.
Hmm.
It's really kind of hard to say because like look at who we saw in the camp on Aldhani. Is that what it's called? Aldhani, something like that.
Mm.
Um, Aldhani Solo. No, you have that guy who comes like in the later part of the episode on the speeder bike,
Hmm.
and he seems just like one of them, one of the bad guys who's chasing Cassian. He seems like one of them, but he's actually a guy who's flipped and is
Yeah.
helping them infiltrate the base to like take it out. So the question I think yeah, like a good like sort of guiding question to continue on as we watch it is how is this going to go?
Yeah.
Like will they both flip? Will we see that all of these people coming into the Rebel Alliance and like whoa, didn't see that coming? Or is it going to be like, you know, these are people for Cassian to kill and contend with over 24 episodes, because it could really go either way.
Mm.
I mean, in the most basic essence of like the Star Wars Rebels style of storytelling, like you have Callus, and by the end of it, he's one of them.
Hmm.
So that kind of stuff, you know, it's definitely there on the lighter hearted stuff. But
So, did you think that Callus was gonna switch just based off of how,
as the show
or
went
you think it was
on,
more of
I,
a progression?
no, like in the middle of it, like it was pretty obvious
Yeah.
we were going that way. But like season one, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have just thought, you know, you can't really tell because there's just not a lot had happened yet. But
I don't know. To me, there's something going on. Just like her facial expressions are like very intense. She's very
mhm,
smart. She's catching on that there's like patterns, and they're kind of like, oh, is that her name, Deidre?
Deidre, yeah,
Deidre, Dedra.
yeah. I thought it was kind of it was sort of weird because that place is so scuzzy and like shitty. Like all of those people are such just assholes. But it almost seemed like the like commander, her boss, was almost kind of cool in
Hmm.
a weird way. Like he was almost like complimenting her,
Hmm.
but building her up. But it was like almost like in a sick, sadistic way, where it's like, you know, he's just
Oh yeah,
building
like
her up a little
he
bit
told her
so
like
he
fucking
could
yeah
manipulate her more. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
It was like he reprimanded her and then he complimented her,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's fucking a mind fuck. Like for somebody in that environment.
Hmm.
Like what's going on. So it's like it clearly rewards pleasers, people who want to please, and people who kind of fit that I want to please kind of mentality. They're not necessarily loyal though,
Hmm.
because they, you know what I mean. Once they see a different way to please someone else. So I'm kind of wondering like if that's what they're setting up, but it's so early. I mean, it's just obviously it's just speculation with very limited evidence. But the yeah, the young, I recognize him from something else too. But when they get to the rebel camp
Mm-hmm.
and there's like the young boy,
The one that was
the younger
sleeping.
boy, yeah, and he trusts Cassian.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wonder if there's like something, is there like something to that guy? If is he something like more important? It seemed like they were kind of taking it that way. So I'm kind of curious if it's
Because he
going to
said
turn out.
didn't he say
He's like,
something like I can feel that he's whatever,
yeah,
or he said I get a
yeah,
feeling, or like something like that.
yeah. Is that Kyle Katarn all grown up? What's going on here?
Oh.
Might be, but also it might just be this little adorable thing to do because they're going to slit his throat during the fight. You know what I mean? On this
Mm,
show, on this show, they would. I think they would, for going with that really hardcore one foot in Game of Thrones sort of stuff kind of
mm-hmm.
place. You kind of build people up to tear them down in the narrative, like as soon as it starts to get too heroic,
Mm-hmm.
and there has to be costs to this whole thing, and so I would imagine that like not all seven of them are going to get out.
Alive.
Yeah, I mean somebody has to die, but hot callous in it. God, I hate that so much. That's like, it sounds like that sounds like Luthen shitting on your white clothes. That's a hot callus. That's what I think of. That's what it sounds like. Oh my god, there's a hot callus on here.
Hey Dale. And
Hey
hey
Dell.
Jedi Mike. Jedi
Yep,
Mike.
Deidre should switch sides and tell them all the secrets. Yeah, I mean
Maybe
it's kind of,
maybe they like fuck her over and she's like, you know what, fuck you.
in certain ways she's kind of like,
I think she's in a flip.
she's kind of like though, like look at Krennic. Krennic didn't flip, but he was a lower class,
Krennic was a cunt.
but he was a lower class guy who wanted to contend with the big boys in the empire, and they continually walked on him, so he had to work harder. He was like the equivalent of the guy from Boston or something. You know what I mean? Like, working in like a rich New York firm or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, where I'm going with that is that she's kind of the same. She's sort of the same kind of thing. It's like a different twist on that same concept. For what it's worth, Krennic didn't flip. He just kept getting worse. So,
Yeah, he had no like sympathizing qualities at all.
yeah,
I didn't feel anything for him.
I mean,
He was mean.
it
He
seemed
was
like he
mean.
peed a little bit when Darth Vader choked him. Though I think he liked it. He
I
kind of
think
was
he
like at the
liked
end.
it.
At the
Yeah,
end, he
he
was
fucking
like,
smiled after that. He's in a bondage and
yeah.
shit.
You could be like, he's happy he survived, or which I think it's a little bit more the. Mhm. But instead, she's going to give her boss a faucet to go on, and he'll take credit. Yeah, that's probably. I think Jedi Mike says, I think that Luthen is a fake collector. What's the real story? My take is he was a real collector, a real he has I'm guessing he's had an antique store since the Republic, and then as time has gone on and he's seen what's going on, it's a great cover for him to travel around the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he gives that to Mon Mothma, knowing that she's gonna have to bring it back because her husband doesn't want it. But her husband's like, oh, it's another one I can't keep about the gift. And and also a little alarming that he knew about it. He knew about the gift. So that means that people,
Are
even
tell
his people, are telling him what she's doing. So
I kind
information about her is getting passed through the staff, at
yeah.
least.
Yeah.
And so
He's
when
questionable. He's questionable.
yeah, and that's where I'm kind of going
He's
is like when,
suspect.
well, he clearly wants to party with Paris Hilton, Massamita, Sly Moore, Nicki Minaj,
Sly
he,
Fox.
mhm, from Foxy Brown.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wants to be doing cocaine in L.A., going to premieres, and she's like, "Motherfuckers are starving right now. We can't be doing that." So clearly, they're not on the same page.
How long have they been married?
It didn't say. We just like learned right now. We just learned right now, but too long. That's what I could tell you. Too long already. But like I was talking about this on Santa Show today, in like true crime stuff. The thing I love about Cassie and Andor, it's always the girlfriend or the boyfriend, but it's usually the girlfriend in these stories because it's usually the guy who's the criminal.
Who's a tattletale?
Well, it's always like it always leads to the spouse or the girlfriend knows what's up with the person doing the illegal stuff, so they're the ones who's the key to the case against them. And in Mon Mothma's instance, it's gonna be that guy. That fucking guy is gonna be. He has to be. He's gonna be like the key to it. So the whole thing is we see. I don't know
I
what
mean,
the
because
books say.
why would he
How,
do that? Like,
well, how
that's
long
the
will she be on
yeah.
Coruscant in the Senate? Is
Mm-hmm.
this like her last week?
Uh,
Because we are 5 years before the Battle of Yavin now. I don't think I don't think she's in there too much longer. I think this might be the beginning of the end of her political career, which is I think like, and if we see in this series, we kind of see all of that fall apart for her, that's going to be pretty good. It's
mm-hmm.
going to be pretty good to see. You know what I mean? No, I mean, horrible for her. She's not real, so it's
Yeah,
okay. She'll be all right. It's not real, but
but good
it'll be good
story.
drama. Yeah, good drama and good story. And I kind of think that's where this is going to go. At least I kind of hope so. Dale says Luthen stole all that shit. He had two plans. He's like, I could be a fancy antique guy, or I could deliver intergalactic pizza. He's like, if I have intergalactic pizza, I take pizza all over the place. And
Pizza
what?
sounds good.
They wanted a pizza pie.
James just woke up.
Oh, diggity James. Go back to bed. Dell says, we're not that close to the Battle of Yavin. We're 5 years out. So, that gives 15 years of, but I don't know if there's any established lore that I'm missing or something like that. So if any of you know, let me know. But as far as I can tell, it sounds like her days are numbered. That's the picture that they're painting. I don't see her going up until, I mean, at the same time though, we don't see her at Yavin when they go to attack the Death Star. She's not there. She's like meeting in secret. Like we see her in Rogue One meet in secret, but then she's not there when Luke's there. So it does kind of seem like they take off, like she takes off. So, but maybe she was just in the bathroom.
That was just really shitty though. Like, she's like, these people hate me. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And she's still going with it.
And he was like, because they got the good space coke. That's pretty much what he was saying. He's like, you seen that guy with the blue face and the horns and that bald chick? They fucking party. Like, he's like, he unscrews one of those like horns of his right here, the thorn of the tusk, and it's just like bowls of cocaine. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, trust me, it's Sith magic. You wouldn't understand. Neo Fulcrum says the website on his profile states he's an avid collector for anything that can be useful. That would explain why he wanted Cassian.
He wanted Clem.
Andor, I want to watch you fuck my wife. What? What? But Dell says the Senate will be dissolved soon, but we're not close. Yeah, does she make it to that though? Does she make it that far? Is kind of the question that I have, But
wait. But that's in A New Hope when they do that, right?
Mm-hmm. That's so like the day of Rogue One.
Oh,
like they have a Death Star. They don't need your senators anymore. Like at that point.
Okay.
And then Luke Skywalker's like, "Oh, I'll just come and T-ball this in. Thanks, Andor." And Jyn Erso, K2SO, blind guy. So But the Senate. Okay, sorry, I thought it was his answer. The spices flowing at the Star Wars Burlesque show in L.A. Oh, hey, good times. But yeah. But I mean, all in all, like this is my favorite. I know I'm a Star Wars guy. All of the shows should be my favorite show, but I won't lie, they're not always my favorite show on TV. But right now, it's my favorite show on TV. I'm gonna say this one, then Game of Thrones, The House of Dragons, Dragoons. You know, but yeah. I mean, like, I mean, the only thing I could be critical of is that I want to see the next part, and I'm pissed
Yeah.
off. I have to wait a whole week to see the next one.
I wish they would
You
show
know,
like two, at least two in a row, because I want it so bad. I want it so good.
it's so good. Yeah, I mean, there are 3-part arcs, so it would be nice just to have all the 3-part arcs on this one. But Disney Plus could space them out for all I care. Make it where I have to keep subscribing to their bullshit because
Yeah.
I'm gonna subscribe to it anyway because I want Willow in 4K. Neil Falcon says so. In terms of the early network, it looks like Mothma is the financier. Luthen is the logistics communications, and everyone is an active operative. That sound right? Yeah, I think so. Because I mean, you have them out there eating dirt, eating roots, and then you have the other officer who comes in, who's like an informant, a guy who they flipped, and so it sounds like yeah. I mean, that's pretty much how it seems to go. And I mean, I don't. Luthen doesn't seem like he's busted broke either, though. So, but it does sound like Mon Mothma is the one who's the funding, at least part of the funding for that stuff.
She's Miss Moneybags.
Well, and then I don't know to what degree they're going to go down this path, but like the idea of Underworld was, corruption kind of breeds corruption. So how do you end up funding an alliance? How do you end up funding that stuff? And sometimes it was through criminal enterprise. Like we will see that some of them, and maybe it's not this one. Maybe this is the moral one. Maybe the Mon Mothma one that Andor's in is the moral one, but the Saw Gerrera one, they're probably like selling spice to like buy those black X-wings and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and so I'm curious if how far down that path we will go. How far will we get to follow the money, or was that it? Was that kind of just showing us we got a storefront? It's kind of a fake. It's kind of a facade. And then we have Mon Mothma coming. She's like, I can't go to the bank anymore. They won't take my cashier's checks without noticing. So, and then I'm curious what's going to happen with Karn. I mean, his mom slapped his face, but it's happy to see him. We know from the picture they're going to go to Denny's, eat some pop rock pancakes together,
and she's
right?
gonna wipe up the spilled iced tea and milk.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm wondering if
do you think he's in a defect or no?
I do, and I'm trying to figure out how he gets looped back in, and I'm thinking that Deidre is going to have a way of getting into the mix, and maybe in what she has uncovered, it's going to be like, I need to talk to him, and then maybe that's sort of how he gets his footing to connect
because
to the ISB.
He has that same look of intense look in his face, just like she does. Like after they tell him something, it's like he's hurt or thinking or like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe they're gonna fall in love. He's like, I'm doing it in you now, and she's like, are you doing it in me? Yeah, I am doing it in you. That's how it would go. That's how they would dirty talk. Hey, James.
Hey, James.
Hey. Oh, I'm blurry. Ooh, I look like Bigfoot.
You might be.
Oh, could be. All right, good enough. So, I'm blaming Rob.
What happened? For the blurry Bigfoot footage?
I turned into a sleepy bitch. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think I didn't feel so good today. I listened to the show earlier, and I had to listen to him suck James Cameron's cock for about half an hour talking about Avatar. So
Yeah.
it was
Oh my
really hard.
God.
It's very traumatic for me. Yeah.
You okay?
Wow.
You're okay.
I'm better, and I threw up a couple times and kind of cleared the system. So yeah, much better.
But how did you like this episode? Or not?
So this is gonna be my spoiler-free review because I literally just woke up, so I have not seen the episode yet. So
Okay.
I think it was great.
Yeah.
The cinematography is amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could
Girl
have been a little
Gilroy's
longer.
done it again.
Absolutely.
It could have been a little bit longer. I could have used a little bit more Bix. Bix isn't in this one.
When's she getting her
Spoil-
spinoff show?
I'm ready.
Is she
Okay.
supposed to be in the rest of the show?
We know she's in season 2, and we know that I believe she. I think we might have seen some shots of her. Like we saw a clip from the international trailer of her going like, "Let's fuck him up."
Oh.
I think I put it on today's show, and yeah. So I think it was today or yesterday. So I'm pretty sure she comes back, and then she says that she's in season 2. So. Yeah. What was the cameo all those people were talking about? Well, as far as I know, no one has seen beyond this. So cameo might have been mentioning Slymore, mentioning Masamita's title, or maybe it was just kind of bullshit. I was kind of getting the sense that it was bullshit because I know people who had seen it, and I was just like, "Who is it? Is it this? Is it Dr. Aphra?" I didn't believe it was, for the record, but I'm like, "Is it her?" They're like, "No, I didn't see that." And I'm just like, "Well," it's like, maybe I don't get it. I'm like, maybe you don't, you fucking idiot. And then it turns out, no, I don't get it either.
Aphra would be too big for them to just like sneak in there. Because
this
that'd be a
isn't
major
the show.
casting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be like something that they would just do as a sideshow. That would be like someone that's permanently in that role.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you don't want to go drop in Dr. Aphra right now, and then what? Then you don't use her for 3 years, and you know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't make sense. But I was this episode. Are you gonna watch it tonight? Or are you just gonna watch it tomorrow?
I'm probably gonna still stay up because fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you guys are gonna be on for a while, I could.
No. We're about to go to bed. We're happy that they put it up about 10 minutes early, so we get to kind of go to bed normal time.
I was even gonna call you, but I didn't.
Yeah. What's up, Max?
I'll do it next time.
If you're free tomorrow though, I'll send you the invite if you want to come on, if you're free. I don't know if you're busy tomorrow. But
I work 9 to 5 now, so it's tough in the week. Yeah.
Oh, you just gotta tell them there's a Star Wars show. What do you guys want? You know what I mean?
Know. I mean, yeah. So
yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Luthen mentions the Rekatan Empire. There's somebody said that Star Killer's mask or something was in there.
Could there be something like a? Sorry, I didn't interrupt, but is there maybe like a core and horn type of thing like they do with Kenobi, where there's just like some little kid and you watch the credits and somebody.
I didn't get to watch. I didn't get to watch the credits, but there's like one kid with some rebels who has like a feeling about Cassian, but it's not really clear if it's really Force related or if it's just like the Deidre character is having intuition about finding rebels, and I'm not gonna say she's a fucking Jedi, you know what I mean? So it might just be the.
He did have that Kyber though. as a down payment.
That's true. The strongest odds are made of kyber. Yeah.
Made of fiber. What?
Made of fiber. What? No. Neo Fulcrum says, I saw a Mandalorian chest plate on display. Wonder who that belongs to.
I saw the mask too, right? Oh no, that was Starkiller.
Yeah, it was I think it was actually the Mandalorian named Yoa Mama. Luke says top episode, the environments are beautiful. It was. Yeah. It definitely was. I mean, this is how I definitely prefer Star Wars to look, whenever possible. This is a better way of doing it. I mean, even like when you get down to Karn's like mom's apartment, it's like a brutalist almost like environment, and it was like both fucking really cool to look at, and I hated it at the same time. I did not want to be there. It's like a concrete sea. You know what I mean? And but that's how you're supposed to feel looking at it. And I was just like, yeah, it's fucking cool. It was really cool. But yeah, I mean, like, God, I gotta say, like, I think this is like one of those shows, like when you have it all, it's like all out there. It's just gonna be like when the whole thing is out there. I'm not saying it's gonna get like if people are having a good time, they're gonna start enjoying themselves anymore after this. If by this fourth one you weren't having a good time, you're fucking done. It ain't happening for you. Nothing's gonna flip. But this is like easily, I think 4 episodes in, I'm pretty convinced this is probably the best. Not when I say the best Star Wars, I don't mean the best Star Wars of all time, but as best as Star Wars is going to get with this take, with this sort of like this genre and this like dark, seedy kind of like environment, you know what I mean? Like version of it. You can't say it's the best Star Wars because some people just want space opera. There's nothing wrong with that. Like just through and through. I mean, there's no like going to the chasm and swinging across while the cool music plays. Like that's a different like thing. But in terms of like let's like somebody just said cyberpunk. Who was it? Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, even drop to 2077. This is Star Wars with the cyberpunk genre to some extent. Like it riffs on it to like mostly in the urban environments and its use of it, I think, more than anything. But it just we don't really get this like you don't ever feel like the sense of oppression that I feel like when I'm watching it and people are talking about like being watched and like nobody's comfortable and like everybody feels like they're kind of crawling out of their own skin everywhere that they go on the place, and it's terrible. Like that Star Wars has never been able to really truly evoke that. There's sad moments like Padme's like, this is how democracy dies, and you're like, it is, Padme, it is. I remember it back when Chancellor Valorum was here and it was different. I remember. But it's not like it's pretty chilled. You know what I mean? It's not very deep and dark and stuff like that. And yes, something tells me that if we were to see that same day in this series, it'd be like, fuck, things would be bad. But
yeah. Up to this point, Star Wars kind of glosses over those moments, because even like when you think about an Empire when they're evacuating Cloud City, I mean, you think about that actually it's a whole city that it's basically preparing for an occupation from their government, and people are fleeing their homes in fear of that. I mean, if you put that onto like a basic human level from like one of those minor characters running through that hallway, it's fucking terrifying.
You know what? Yeah, when you bring that up, I'm gonna give you a minor spoiler. What Karn does, when Karn does is when he goes rogue and tries to find Cassian in the last episode and fails, they take away the security contract from the planet, and now the Empire is just coming full force to enforce the planet. And so it's going to be a shit show that it's going to be terrible. But we see in the beginnings of those first 3 episodes that they are the guys like, you know what? Let's not make waves. Let's just say these guys were being assholes. They tried to do something good. They died. We don't need a parade. You know, I'm gonna go to the Empire. So, but when you look at in Cloud City when they're helping Lando, that means something different to me now. When I take the context of this into account, those clearly are a corporate security force of some kind, privatized. It looks like doesn't look like they're in the outfits almost the same kind of thing and shit. So when they go to help Lando, it's like almost like they already have one foot in the fuck those guys. And Lando's probably corrupt. They're probably corrupt. So they're probably like don't necessarily want to be rebels, but they probably are like, fuck the Empire. They don't come around here, and the idea is to keep them away. But by that point of Empire Strikes Back, they know how this story goes.
Well, and a modern day example of that is what happened in Hong Kong when China took over.
Mm-hmm.
And you had people protesting out in the street because they knew here comes the Chinese government.
Yeah.
And it's going to completely change your way of life. And people are out in the streets trying to fight that. Yeah. That shit happens in real life.
So because like once when Darth Vader threatens to leave a garrison there on Cloud City, and he's probably going to anyways, once that happens, those guys know they're out of the job, so they're kind of like, fuck off when they're helping Lando. But like once again, that's not really things that you usually think about when you watch Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
But after watching Andor, kind of hard to not almost have it inform your sense of sort of construct your common sense for the universe now. It changes that.
Yeah, there's a lot of idiots I see as after the first 3 episodes that were going around just saying this is not Star Wars, but it's it's not their cup of tea. And I understand that it's definitely a different genre than the Skywalker saga is, but it's definitely Star Wars. I mean, it's a lot easier to say what Star Wars is not than it is to say what it is, because it can be so many different things. I mean, there's only a few things where you can be like, this does not belong to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's not someone's cup of tea, like you said, move on.
I mean,
the next one gets you.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like the like tapestry of the films that we've had of the 9. You could sort of pull on different strings there and get different tones and kind of like put together like what you're going to focus on for these things. And this one just happens to sort of go on that table with the guys in the Death Star with Mahdi talking shit, but no Darth Vader choking anybody kind of stuff. And then, and it kind of takes me back to the Biggs cutscenes where they're like, they're going to nationalize your farm, motherfucker, and that kind of stuff. But that was stuff that like has always been there. It's just by the time they got to the final edit, I even think that if those scenes were just performed poorly, because they were kind of the most George Lucas-y performed moments of the original trilogy and whole, and of what we would get as time went on. And so I just think that they just got cut. I think that he probably intended for that stuff to be in the film, for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And that was what I'm trying to say is that was the heart. That was always at the heart of that story. Yeah. Not that he wanted to do this, not that George Lucas wanted to do this, but those concepts were always going to be thrown at the viewer. Just we weren't going to live in it so much.
Well, not to bring up Avatar again, but I think that's where I think there's a couple of ways where I would say that there's a perfect example of contrast between what George Lucas did and say what Cameron did, where Cameron was very overt with his message and kind of like a sledgehammer, where George was very conscious of kind of dumbing everything down and making it not so much in your face, especially because like the whole idea of the Force is just a parable on religion. And it wasn't like George Lucas was trying to promote religion in any way, shape, or form, but in a Joseph Campbell sense he was, but it's a more universal message, like Here with a Thousand Faces, to basically say like there's more commonality there than there is differences. And so he really dumbed it down to the basics so that people watch it and they don't put their defenses up and say like, well, that's not what I believe, or that's wrong.
Yeah.
So even on the political spectrum, we did the exact same thing where it wasn't like an overt, in your face message. It's there, but it's just dumbed down to a very basic thing that, I mean, pretty much everybody agrees with, that like, oppression is bad and
yeah,
like that. So
well, there was a I think it was on the DVD release for the special edition of THX 1138, and on it George Lucas says people thought I was making a movie about the future, but I was making a movie about the West in 1974.
mhm.
Like that's what he said, and that's kind of what Gilroy is doing in the story, and it's very it's one dimension of who George Lucas was.
Mhm.
George Lucas stopped being that guy. I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, by the time you get to the mid '80s, he's completely like not that guy anymore. He's rich and removed from it. I think he's out of college for long enough that he's hanging around rich people more than he's hanging around like radicals at USC. And it just becomes, and I'm not even like criticizing him for that. He kind of grew up, and that's what the hippies did. The hippies became yuppies, and they sucked. But
well, and a lot of people, it's just as they grow older, and even, I don't know if you saw Clerks 3.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
And like as the credits are rolling, Kevin Smith came out and talked, and I've seen him say this in other interviews before. He said, when he made the original Clerks, it was kind of like, fuck these stupid customers, and it was making fun of the idiots that come to the store. And he's like, now in hindsight, as he's older, he's like, that's what made the job great, is these people. He's like, he's like, thank you, because you gave me a career and you're what made everything so enjoyable and interesting. And so now in retrospect, he has a totally different take on how he views that. And I mean, it's just natural. I mean, how old George Lucas was, like in his late 20s when he made THX, the theatrical version, and in college when he made the original. So yeah, obviously it's got to be a lot more heavy-handed. And I mean, that's just any art form. Typically, when you go and you look at someone's earlier works, they're usually they get more simplistic over time. It's not so like the over the top and embellished as much. It's a lot more just do your fucking main thesis and say it, and not have to like go
it gets more they get more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like in George Lucas's instance, though, he got more efficient, but then lost a lot of the extra shit that people could put on and read into. I'm not saying he's faking it, but it's just like he would put in one-liners, little things, and then like that kind of does go away as he starts to realize that like George Lucas. But we don't want to get into the whole thesis on the decisions that George Lucas made about the prequels and what they mean. But I'm down to talk about it one of these days, just not at 2 a.m. But Nicolio, the Great and Powerful, says, you know what Star Wars was really missing? Mon Mothma's marital misadventures. Hey, it's something I didn't know I needed until I got it. Okay, buddy? No. Astrid says, they're still going to watch it even if they don't like it. Laugh aloud. My friends are doing that. They've not liked anything much aside from Mando, but they're watching everything even if they don't like it. Yeah, I mean, it's Star Wars is one of those things. I mean, you can read a review, you can hear a review, your friends could all like it, your friends could all hate it, but it don't mean shit until you see for yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how I think most of us. I don't think most people are like, I heard the reviews for that Mandalorian show. I think I'm going to skip it, or I must watch it. It doesn't really seem to go that way. Mm-hmm. Everybody just goes in on their own behalf. You just can't. Yeah, it's like you have to fucking experience it yourself.
Well, as someone that's hated pretty much everything Disney's done, I can understand, because like I didn't like The Force Awakens when it came out, but then Rogue One came out, and it's one of my favorite movies, Star Wars movies ever.
Yeah.
And then Last Jedi came out. It's like, oh well, maybe they'll redeem it in Rise of Skywalker, and then that sucked too. But then Mando came out, and I was like, okay, this is good. And then what was the next thing after that? It was,
Boba.
Yeah, next thing was Boba.
You love
Yeah.
that.
All the show, and it's like, okay, well, that's terrible. And then I didn't like Obi-Wan, but then this is great. So it's like they haven't lost me in the sense that they haven't had such a horrible track record that it's been just bad consistently for like a 10-year period. If that was the case, then I'd be like, fuck this shit, I'm out. It's
I don't know, like on this show, what I find weird are a couple of people that I know who watch like Game of Thrones and are like watching House of Dragons and loving it and like fucking tonguing its butthole, like fucking and like cupping the balls, everything about that show. And then this one, they're like, I'm like this is the same like caliber of television, though. I mean, it really is. It's like the same. And in fact, this is actually better. This is actually much better written than the current House of Dragons, which I am liking, by the way, a lot. I'm liking it a lot. But I mean, you could see when they're kind of like got a lot of like random ideas and they're trying to like make stuff work, and it's like, well, that's how it goes. Okay, fucking okay. Next. And this one right here, it's like, oh, everything is. I mean, even the fucking like assholes in like the security force are having good lines. Like when I was watching it again, I'm like even that fucking asshole is like, oh, setting a good tempo. Yes, it's important. Like just those like little things. It's like it's all so well done.
Well, and the Rotten Tomato score for this, amongst the critics, is the highest of any of the contemporary shows. When you look at like Rings and House of Dragons and the Marvel shows, it's really high. So the people that are looking at it with a critical eye are saying this is a well-made show. So if it's not for you, then hey, don't. I can't see anything.
I think I'm with Meg on this one. I think this is probably the best episode of a Star Wars TV show they've ever made.
Damn.
I mean, in terms of quality. I'm not going to say it necessarily beats like that Mando episode where they fight the dragon, the great dragon. Like that shit's pretty fun. It's a whole different kind of thing. So when you say best, it really, but in terms of like, of just, it's really fucking well done. I remember when I first heard that Disney had bought Star Wars, I was like, oh fuck. Because like John Carter was, I mean, you know what I mean? Like we were in John Carter and Tron kind of territory with them. They didn't have their shit down as well as and then I was like, well, okay. And then we started to learn like Michael Arndt was involved and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, like this is sounding like maybe it's gonna be something that I'm interested in. And but I remember like I was at work that day and I was like what's the tone gonna be? Like I imagined this tone. And I imagined them trying to recreate George Lucas, and I was like, "What are they going to do? Like, what are all these going to be?" And now here we are, 10 years later, and it's all of it. They're just going to do all of it. All of those tones are going to be here, and So I mean, I'm on board for all of those different kind of like moods, if you will, those like jams. But this one, I mean, I just have to say, if you don't like it, I don't fucking understand you. I'm not saying you're wrong or your opinion's wrong. I just don't fucking get you. I don't know where you're coming from, and I think you're fucking high. But that's your right. That's your right to have that opinion. Well, but if you're bored, maybe you're not paying attention. Maybe you're not seeing the subtleties in here, or maybe I'm seeing subtleties that aren't there, and it's highly entertaining to me. But it's that was Meg Scoop that the Amada's coming. And,
I didn't pay attention to the names that
they call them like the Vizier or whatever, some shit like that, and that's like his like official title,
He's gonna walk and he's gonna go.
Yeah. Remember it? there was there's a cutscene from Revenge of the Sith of him in the Senate, and the CGI tongue is just so bad.
They're like, order.
They made a toy with that too.
Mm-hmm.
There's an
It was
action figure with
nasty.
it. Yeah.
And Padme was like,
she was all bending over,
and Mothma was like, Mothma started presenting. It was weird.
Very popular with the ladies.
Star Wars Big says no, but he is in the show, and Sly Moore was name dropped today, which is a big hint. It's true. It's true. Old Sly Moore. More like Sly Horror, if you know what I'm talking about. If you hear what I heard. Fuck.
Hey, all sexy.
Yeah. I heard she cosplays as a Asajj Ventress free if you're into that. Star Wars makes us we're eating good with the show. The acting is next level too. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I can get on board with someone that says this show's not for them, but like, because like I don't like Quentin Tarantino, but I'm not gonna say he's a bad filmmaker. I just don't like his shit. It's just not my thing. I like I mean, I Pulp Fiction and stuff like that. It's like it's technically great movie, but I don't like watching those movies. So
right.
So I get it, but if someone says the show is poorly made or it's bad, no. Yeah,
they go, well, here I'm very witty, and I'm gonna tell you it's called Andor. Andor. It's boring. And but I'm like, you know what? I don't know, man. Like I kind of find telephoned in tropes sort of boring, like when I'm watching Mando at times. I know people love that one. I'm not saying that's money on the table. Take it. I get it. But like, you know, I watch Mando, like I will rewatch it like in like goes kind of, but I don't like really like I gotta like just watch this part over and over. Like so far, because I'm a weirdo. I loved Kenobi, and I watched this and Kenobi like a lot, and those just happen to work on like the spectrum of stuff that I like, and in a weird way, I know this is gonna probably drive some people crazy, probably James. Probably. It's not a purposeful thing. I'm not saying it's like by design or anything like that, but that fucking I kind of like the I'm kind of liking how small Kenobi feels, because like his world is so small. It's kind of like in a weird way, it's sort of like working for me that even when it starts to like pan out, he's still not there, and it's not on purpose. They were hoping that it would just work. So I'm not saying that, but I'm like, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm personally like okay with that working in that way, and where that like story kind of unfolds. But
I just don't think you can. I mean, as someone that liked Kenobi, could you honestly say that the execution of that story is on level with what Andor is being executed at?
No, it's not.
And that's where I draw the line. It's like, you know, it's to me, but they had a good idea and they dropped the ball with it because they just didn't execute it properly. And so so I get what you're saying. Like I don't mind the story of Kenobi. Yeah, I just think it was poorly executed. I get what they're trying to do. I just think they did it.
But they also weren't trying to do this though either.
No,
it is the whole thing. It's like
and that's where I'd say, well, then it should have been a movie, because if they shouldn't have had 1 foot in. They should have been all in.
Yeah,
and it felt like they had 1 foot in. Like we're doing this best we can, kind of thing. And it's like that's not good enough.
I think that was a situation of we're just going to cancel this, or we're going to do this. We're like, well, let's just do it,
right?
That's instead of not. But Roland says, I did love Tron as a kid though, and I still love the movie now. I was like 10 when it came out. Oh, I was talking about like what was it called? The one with Rinsler. That last Tron. The one where they like the Tron from like 10 years ago.
Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. The DS,
yeah. It's like all like I always found like Tron. It's weird. It's like I like Tron, but when I go to watch the movies, I kind of don't like the movies. but there's stuff I like about it that makes me rewatch it to go.
That's
and
good.
but it's been like that way forever. And like right now in this game I play with my kids called Fall Guys, they're like little bean guys. They have like Tron costumes, and I keep wanting to buy the Tron costume because I'm like, oh, I kind of want to be a little Tron guy. But yeah, Tron's a weird one for me. But
it's
Roland,
so trapped in amber. It's so a thing of its time. Yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't
Roland
age
says
well.
it reminds him of House of Dragons very much in the writing, like sci-fi, and that's the thing is it's like back in the day they used they used to always say Andor, sorry, not Andor, fucking Star Wars Underworld was going to be like Rome, the television show Rome.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the television show Rome.
Yeah.
And so in certain ways, this is the closest thing to delivering on the promise of the premise of Star Wars Underworld that George Lucas was not going to deliver on the promise of the premise of it being like Rome. It was not going to be like Rome.
Yeah.
He was going to try. It was going to be like Diet Rome. Like some actors from Rome would be in it, and he'd just be like, "Do what you did in Rome." That was George Lucas' whole thing. Terrence Stamp, I love you. Do what you know what I mean. Go Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and he's like, "I'm a Chancellor of the Galaxy. I don't care. That's for you and Natalie Portman to figure out." Oh, and I gave her the day off. He's like, "Fuck." But
kneel before Bernadette.
Roland says, you're right. I recently rewatched Tron. I noticed some things I didn't like that much. Yet I still love those fight scenes and the bar and the final act and just the middle. Yeah, and it looks cool. Like it's weird. Like it's like someday somebody's gonna bring Tron together though. Someday a filmmaker is gonna come in there and like bring in all of the shit that it's gonna make a fantastic Tron movie. It's just waiting to happen. It just hasn't. I heard that the TV show the cartoon was like really good. People seem to be like really into it, but I never saw it. I was watching Star Wars Rebels, and I had no time for no Tron. Watching Rebels back then. But Roland says that I hope they do because Tron is awesome. Yeah. But anyways, this I'm gonna we're gonna call it a show. That way James could go watch the episode. That way I could go to sleep, wake up, watch it again, talk about it with old man Avatar. That's his new name, Robotar. And so what is everyone's bet that somehow Rob reviews this episode through the lens of Avatar?
Oh, it's too close. It's too close to Avatar 2. That's all he can think about.
He's going to be like, when I was looking at those green hills, I thought about the lush oceans of Pandora. And I'm like, no, Rob, no, I think he can do it. Lobo says that the Tron cartoon was killer. It's on Disney Plus. Maybe I'll put that on, and maybe I'll start it for bed, and then
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, and also Tron, who was our weed dealer for years. Remember Tron? He'd always deliver our weed. Hey, it's Tron. Oh, hey, Tron. How's it going? No. Anyways, thank you everybody for being a channel member. Thank you, James, for not watching the episode but still coming over. And Max, of course, thank you for hanging out with me tonight.
You're welcome.
And if by some reason either of you end up free when we're doing the show and you guys want to come on, just send me the text or something like that. And
okay.
James, I have to give you my phone number, James. It's probably easier instead of DMing through social media apps that I don't check. I like look at it, I'm like, oh, James asked me if we're doing a show last week tonight. Yeah, we are, James. We totally are. I mean, so anyways, yeah, and I hope everybody had a good night and enjoyed the show, and we'll be back tomorrow. Come and hang out with us tomorrow and share your thoughts with us more. It seemed like everybody liked it, though. I didn't see anybody in the chat going, it's boring. It seemed like anybody who stayed on was still into it. One last one. TK says, hopefully this show gets them to refocus Mandalorian. Needs to move past the side quest of the week stuff. Trailer does more serious and intense at least. And to that, I just want to say that like my kids cannot watch this show focused. They like scenes. They like everything in it. They don't ever, but they can't stay on it because it stays in those moments like too long. But the thing about Mandalorian is they're a little bit more cognizant of growing up with their audience now. And so I kind of wouldn't be surprised if as Mandalorian goes on, they start to realize, it's been 5 years and the kids that started this at 8 are now 13, 14. We can start to do certain things that we didn't do before. But I have no idea if Baby Yoda is just a revolving door bringing in new youngsters. I have no idea how it works there. But so I think it's just better just to kind of like do these different flavors and then like let people not just realize just accept the fact that you can't please everyone, but get into those TV sort of niches or whatever and be like, yeah, you want a Game of Thrones Star Wars? Here it is, bitch. It's called Andor. Sorry for my candor, but I watched Andor. Sorry, it's so dumb. I was like watching them and they're all Fondor. Oh, and before I forget, one last thing. Nari. Not the man, but the language. It keeps on giving. Sorry, Nari.
Sorry, Nari.
They can't not use it. They're gonna keep fucking saying that word. They can't help it. They cannot help themselves. They're like the Jedi. They can't help themselves. Sorry. But anyways, thanks everyone. Bye. I'm gonna end the show now. I'm tired. It's bedtime. Go to bed, Max.
I am.
Bed, Max.
I'm hungry.
Go watch Star Wars game. Go eat pizza.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.